What is going on, crew? Today I want to give you guys a little bit of a different look at things. We're going to go into the tactical side. So usually I go into the strategic side, the 30,000 foot view. I teach you guys how to think like me, right? Today I want to teach you how to do like me and some of the strategies and tactics that I use with diabetes management as we get into where should you inject your insulin. So let's get into our theme song. I've spent the last 10 years pushing the limits while identifying trends and patterns in my type 1 diabetes management. Follow along as I learn, apply, and share the fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle strategies that I've learned from diabetes experts around the world. The real question is, how can we live fearlessly with diabetes while maintaining stable blood sugars? This podcast is here to give you the answer. My name is Matt Vandevecht, head coach and co-founder of FTF Warrior, and welcome to Pardon My Pancreas. Alright, so first thing, I want to make sure that if you are listening to this might be one of the episodes you watch on YouTube, as we're going to give you some visual aids for this one. We're going to talk about different sites that you should be using, different strategies and tactics as far as site rotations and all that great stuff. So, if you're not on YouTube, get over there now, it's going to be a good one. Now, for those of you who are on YouTube with you right now, we're going to chat about where you should be injecting your insulin. Now, this isn't necessarily exact medical advice, which is exactly why I'm wearing my t-shirt that says, not a doctor. I just simplify blood sugars, right? Because I am not a doctor, you should know that by now. But what I am is a type 1 diabetic who knows his stuff. So, what we're looking at with insulin injections, pump sites, even CGMs, right? All the devices that we wear these days, or different spots around our body that we stab ourselves with needles like pin cushions, need to be rotated. Now, reason being, and there's actually quite a few reasons, but I can go super deep into them because I want to make sure we're focused on today's episode with no tangents. But one of the reasons being is that we want to make sure our insulin is absorbing at an appropriate rate. If you reuse the same site over and over and over again, like I did for the first 5 years of having diabetes, because no one told me to rotate my sites, you can actually develop scar tissue. And we can get into lipohypertrophy and a whole different ball game of things and topics. But first lesson you got to know, you need to rotate your sites. This remains true for MDI if you're giving shots, multiple daily injections. Same thing if you're using an insulin pump. Your pump sites need to be rotated. Same thing for a CGM, right? I wear a Dexcom. It doesn't go on the same spot time after time, right? You need to give yourself a break from these devices that are stuck on your skin. In the CGM case, it's got something going under your skin, right? For your needles and your injections and your pump sites, all of them are going to be irritating your skin, to say the least, because you are causing micro trauma essentially. So what we're looking at is how often you should rotate your sites, where should they go, and how do we inject? Now, first tip is that whether you're MDI or pump, you're gonna rotate. But the strategies are a little bit different, right? So on an insulin pump, which I am currently on, it's easier to rotate because the same site gets used for 2 or 3 days typically, right? So each time that I do change my site, I know where it's been the last 3 days, and so I go from there, or 2 days, depending on which pump you're using, right? Or type of insulin. But I know where it's been the last couple of days, so I just don't put it there again, right? Versus MDI, or multiple daily injections, you give yourself a shot for breakfast, and by lunchtime you might have forgotten, at least I did, where the last injection went. And so it becomes a bit more difficult to have these rotations be perfect. So with an insulin pump, I have my own 6 to 8 different locations that I use, and that is the recommendation, in order to give yourself a break, to let your skin heal in between each usage, right? So if you're going 2 or 3 days with each pump site and you've got 6 to 8 sites, you're giving it plenty of time before it gets reused again in order to heal between uses, right? Now MDI, I actually find it's more beneficial, and I know this because I used to be MDI myself. For the majority of my life with diabetes, I was MDI, which is multiple daily injections. I find it more useful to either keep track, so you can keep it on a notepad. You can, write out abdomen right side, abdomen left side, upper buttocks right side, upper buttocks left side. You kind of check them off as you go, back of napkin kind of stuff. Other option is to have different locations for different meals or different days of the week, right? You can kind of structure it based on existing structures in your life. And so you can say breakfast is abdomen. I try to switch back and forth. Maybe lunch is lower back or love handles. Dinner is maybe inner or outer thigh. your long-acting insulin could be your upper buttocks, right? Switching it back and forth. There's lots of different locations we can use within these different site locations. Now, here's where it gets fun. Within your site locations, you want to find the right spots. You can't just start jabbing needles around everywhere and expect it to go well, right? There's gonna be spots where you don't have enough fat. There's gonna be spots where you might have used that spot too many times in the previous month, years, whatever it is, and it's already got scar tissue built up, which means that insulin will not absorb at the same rate, right? Or you might hit muscle, or a nerve, or bone, if you're too skinny. You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful about where you're putting these insulin pump sites, where you're sticking needles for MDI, because you wanna make sure it's a good spot. Now, there's 2 rules that I use to make sure that I'm finding good spots, okay? First one, super easy to remember because it rhymes. And this is pinch and inch. So if you can pinch an inch of skin, then you're good to go, right? Now I'm gonna give you an example. Let's see if I can find my old pump site. Here we go. So right now, got on my lower back, right? And so right here, I'm able to pinch an inch. See that? Oh look, Matt's got fat. That's so true. So because, well, that's a squeaky chair, huh? Because I could pinch that inch, I knew that spot had enough fat where it wasn't gonna stick into bone or muscle, and that's a good spot for me. Now, of course, I've used that spot before, so I also know that's a go-to spot. So, quick rule, if you can pinch an inch, it's usually a good spot. Same thing for MDI. If you can pinch an inch, you can pinch, stick the needle in, release, and put the insulin in. And most of us were taught some level of that strategy when we were first diagnosed or going through our diabetes classes, you know, your endocrinologist office, whatever it was. Most of us were taught, hey, pinch your skin, inject, let it go, right? For me, I was taught to inject on an orange. I don't know, when you were first diagnosed, I'm actually curious, what were you using? If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments what you first used or how you were first taught to give injections. Now, the other rule that I like to use, right, is the poke method. And this is just one that I've learned on my own, through my own experience, and I'm a bit more of a lean kind of guy, right? I have low body fat and more toned muscle. So for me, it's actually happened a few times where I have hit muscle and it has been very painful and uncomfortable to the point where, at least on my insulin pump site, I pulled the site out and said, nope, we're going somewhere else. I don't want to tell you any horror stories about that, but just trust me, you don't want to hit muscle because then moving that muscle becomes a very painful experience. So in order to avoid muscle, and this is going to come with experience, you're going to have to try this out for yourself, and I would use it in combination with the pinch and inch method, okay? And that's the poke method, where I just start poking around and I go, that's dense muscle tissue, dense, 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 dense. Where is a spot? Oh, there we go, flabby. Right? And I'm like, oh, I found some. So for me, I'm poking around, and if it's dense or if it's kind of hard, like the palm of your hand, if you poke in that, that's not fat, right? That's pretty dense. Now, if I'm looking at, I'll just walk you through my sites. How about that? So on my insulin pump, I told you I've got 6 to 8 different sites that I use, right? The 6 that are my tops, and I'll tell you my 2 extras that I use if I need them. First, I have my right love handle abdomen kind of area, and then I go from right abdomen to my left abdomen, and then I go to my right lower back / love handle-ish to my left lower back / love handle-ish, which is where it's at right now. Next up, which I'm actually switching it out in about 4 or 5 hours after I eat, is going to be my upper right buttocks. Upper butt, all right? And then after upper right buttocks is upper left buttocks. And then after that, I'll go to my inner right thigh. And then after that, I'll go to my left inner thigh, okay? And then back to the top of the list. Upper right abdomen, not upper, sorry. Side of the right abdomen, closer to the love handle. And then to the left side, lower right back, lower left back. And I just cycle through it. It's 8 different spots. So each time I switch, I know what's coming next. So I don't have to keep a list, I don't have to write things down. I just know I go from right to left every single time. And I go from stomach to lower back to buttocks to inner legs. Now, those might not work for you. You're gonna have to pinch an inch and use the poke test to try and figure out where are your best spots. Most people would not dare use their inner thighs. For some reason, I have a little bit of extra fat in my inner thighs, so it works for me. Now, that's actually a very tricky spot, because again, I am lean, so that's a tough one for me to get the needle in and have it be at a good angle where it doesn't impact my walking or running or workouts. Most people like their outer thighs, and that works pretty well for them. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna pop a little graphic up right there. I'm gonna show you guys what I would, if I could draw, this is what it would look like for those sites that I just mentioned and some other common sites as well. So check that graphic out. Now, outside of that, again, pinch test, poke test, or pinch and inch, poke test, find sites that work for you and make sure you've got at least 4. Preferably you want to be in the 6 to 8 range of different sites you can go to. MDI or pump, make sure you are rotating your sites, because if you go to the same spot like I did for years and years and years, because they didn't tell me that, so what's easy? Grab my stomach, inject into my stomach. Every single day, every single meal. After a while, I actually had a lump that built up under my skin of scar tissue. And after going on an insulin pump and not using that spot, because I was like, that's weird, right? I have a lump in my stomach. It took about 2 years for that to go away. And I'm feeling around right now, rolling my skin. I can still feel remnants of it, but it's no longer visible. Okay, 2 years. So just to avoid that entirely, just switch your sites, right? Just rotate the injection sites that you use. It's gonna help your insulin work better. It's gonna help your appearance because your skin's gonna heal. It's gonna let the scar tissue not build up. So there's a lot of benefits behind it. We don't have to get into the details behind the whys, but I wanted to give you the what and the how today, right? So instead of that overview that I typically provide of like teaching you how to think like me, it's like, you know what, let's give them some logistical tactics of exactly what to do. So switching your sites around, super beneficial, highly recommend it. I don't know why it's not part of like the curriculum of newly diagnosed diabetics, but make sure you're doing that. It's gonna benefit you massively. Now, if you're new here on YouTube, or if you're still for some reason listening on a podcast episode, highly recommend subscribing. Check out the other videos, other episodes that we've got. In fact, just do me a solid. Subscribe right now. You know, just do me the favor of subscribing, because I want to hang out with you. I want to be friends. So I love seeing other type 1s in my comments, parents of type 1s. It's amazing connecting with you guys. So be sure to subscribe, you know, do the rest of the cool stuff too, like and comment. And actually, last note, I think it would be super fun. Drop a comment if you're able to, like if you're on YouTube, and let me know what your favorite sites are that you use for injecting insulin, all right? And in a different video, maybe on some other day when I'm not wearing my Not a Doctor shirt, we can go over into more in-depth topics. Like my clients and I, we talk about something called intramuscular injections, and there's all these other types of, I don't want to get into that. It's a whole new topic that is extremely interesting, but it's for another episode. So just let me know what your favorite site to use is. For me, honestly, I think it's my upper buttocks. Yeah, it's out of the way, doesn't get tugged on. The tubing from my pump, I don't have to worry about it. That's probably my favorite. And second favorite would be my abdomen, because I get to show it off. And I'm weird like that. I now enjoy showing off my diabetes. Who knew? I used to hide it. Anyways, drop that down below. Let me know your favorite site. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment. You know the whole deal. I will see you in the next episode. Have an amazing day, and keep up the fight.